Nerf or buff? What agents are crazy overpowered and hopelessly underpowered? Let's find out together. Timestamps for your agent main in the description. Astra needs to say the same. We've seen how broken she can be with 5 stars, but she's really very playable with both 4 stars and nerfed abilities. She is most likely the best controller if played to her fullest potential, so no buffs are needed. Breach should be buffed. I'm not saying that he's a bad agent by any means, but being the only initiator without information gathering abilities is pretty tough. I'd say a small buff, especially to Aftershock, would be very welcome, as currently being meta on Haven and Fracture is pretty tough on his C ability. Brimstone probably needs to be nerfed. A slight nerf to either the duration of his smokes or his molly damage is probably enough to bring attention to other controllers. He's the second most played controller as of now, and that's due to his ease of use, but also his power. A small change should be able to shine the spotlight on other agents. Chamber needs to be buffed. Yes, you may have flashbacks to pre-nerf Chamber, but currently his kit feels less like a Sentinel, and much more focused on the player's ability to aim. A small buff, either to his trip or TP radius, is sure to be enjoyed. Chamber is most likely the weakest Sentinel as of now, mainly only being played on tighter maps like Bind and Haven. Cypher should no doubt get a small buff. With a similar pick rate to Chamber, other Sentinels have outclassed him in appeal and power, so a small buff to either his trip or cage should be put into place. Cypher is a good Sentinel, but his kit falls short on some maps, like Lotus. Deadlock should stay the same. The newest addition to the roster has proven to be pretty balanced in terms of usage rates and power. Her kit is expected for a Sentinel, and her E ability is probably one of the best in the Sentinel. Deadlock's playstyle will most likely change and morph over time, but as of August 2023, she is fine as she is. Fade may need a buff. After her Prowlers got nerfed twice in patch 5.10 and 5.12, her control has fallen significantly. Perhaps by increasing the duration of her Prowler slightly, more flexibility can be allowed for her util usage. I think Fade has fallen off as a top tier initiator, overshadowed by some other choices in recent times. Gekko could do with a slight buff. At the moment, as an initiator, his plasma blind isn't the greatest, and his abilities can be easily shot or avoided. I think a few health buffs or an increase of duration on his blind would do him well, as he currently sits at a 3% pick rate. Harbor deserves a nice buff. He has a 0.8% pick rate, the lowest of any controller of any agent. Really, his cove was not affected by the rifle magazine nerf, and his cascade doesn't provide enough pressure on offense. He most likely needs a buff to the duration of his smokes, or a decrease on the 40-second recharge length on his high tide. Jett should really stay the same. She's somewhat balanced as a duelist. If you are good with a kit and playstyle, you play well as Jett. If not, she's a pretty easy agent to learn. Jett has already had numerous nerfs over the history of Valorant, from 3 smokes and an instant dash, so I think she's in a great place. KO should stay the same. The idea of suppressing abilities is already really strong, and even after the flash nerf, his flashes are very usable in the right hands. With one of the strongest ults in the game, the only thing I would change is the lob speed of his molly. It seems just a tad slow. Killjoy needs a nerf. Yes, you could say that she's somewhat balanced, as she's only really received nerfs, but in this matter, Killjoy is a bit too dominant. Her post-plant mollies are very strong, alarm bot fits her playstyle, and recharging turret is very powerful. Her ult is a free sight or clutch, so I think some nerfs, especially to her ability to manhandle a sight, are required. Neon could do with a buff. She is quite good in the right hands, but lower ranked players will struggle to utilize her utility in the right ways. Her ultimate is a little weak for 7 ult plates, with a huge damage fall off at long range. The stun and ult are probably the areas I could do with a slight buff, maybe a larger radius and higher long range damage. Omen needs a slight nerf. He's been dominating as the most used controller for the last couple months, and while he hasn't released any changes for a while, his usefulness as a solo controller has become more noticed over time. His smokes and blind are very strong, so a slight reduction in either the speed of his paranoia or the duration of his smokes could be made. Phoenix needs a buff. While his win rate is high at the moment, his C ability, the wall, is lacking strength. It's sluggish, short, and lasts a short duration, like something else. A small buff to the time it takes to put up the wall is probably needed, but otherwise, Phoenix is a balanced duelist with a very good flash. Raze could do with a tiny nerf. As one of the top played duelists, her power shines through a nade and a combination of abilities. Her ult is very good if used to its fullest potential, and her paint shells are lethal in close quarters. I think a small nerf to a grenade shrapnel damage would be acknowledged in terms of gameplay. Reyna absolutely needs to stay the same. Even a small buff would break the balance between ranked and pro play. Reyna is a solid pick, even an immortal to Radiant, and buffing her would probably be a bad idea. She also doesn't need a nerf, as the kit is meant for aimers. Nothing for Reyna. Sage stays the same. She is meta on Split, and currently the third most played agent. Her kit is quite balanced, with strong slows and wall. Her ult is a little underpowered, especially for the large cost, but overall Sage is a balanced agent, easy to play, and very appealing to newer players. Skye should get a small nerf. As much as she's dominating the meta at the moment, she could use a small flash nerf, such as a longer duration to recharge, or cost increase. They really are very good, making a powerful agent right now. Sova should stay the same. This agent is very balanced, with more experienced players being able to utilize his kit to the fullest of its ability. His lineup potential and information gathering is very good, so no changes are really needed. Viper has to stay the same. Even after all the nerfs, she's still a viable controller, and with Icebox and Breeze maybe making a return in the near future, she will most likely pick up some pick rate along the way. Her post-plant mollies and smokes are good, but need player skill to be used well. Lastly, Yoru can do with a small buff. He's a good duelist, depending on the player, with average flashes and the ability to escape any situation with his teleport. His ult feels a little short, so maybe 13 seconds from 12 seconds could be manageable. And there you have it. Every agent and my opinion based on some fact about whether or not they need changes. Thanks a ton for watching and have a great day. Remix out.